examine its very underlying assumptions and to formulate a more clear uh, optional definition that really would work. So it's still being defined, basically, like we said. The concept of codependency has become inflated, resulting in a language used to describe all sorts of psychological problems. Okay. Now this may have some negative implications for counseling. Therapists should verify, challenge, and also soften the term with self-diagnosis or diagnosed clients or patients. It says furthermore, this may have serious implications too for cross-cultural concerns or encounters. What is considered to be dysfunctional or abnormal in one particular culture may be quite totally acceptable and quite normal in another culture. So, when dealing with different subcultures, um, in minorities or ethnic groups, it's essential and always understood to carefully listen and also to learn and to consciously avoid quick interpretations or conclusions or judgment or diagnosis. So some basically therapeutic suggestions or interventions that are effective within basically the Anglo-American society, for example, may be in conflict with another cultural background, like such as Christians or Americans, may be different from the Anglo-Americans because it's a little different with Indians and Americans. So that value closer communities and also familyism. C.F. Inclan and also Hernandez in 1992 and Anderson in 1994 have both argued that, or these people have argued that the individual identity tends to often be lost in the label, and the codependency model encourages alienation from rather than connection with the family of origin. So a lot of times when people suffer from this, they often tend to leave their families because they want to get away from the family, and then of course it doesn't get rid of the problem. They just create their own codependency family there. So generally, what is known about codependent people or individuals is that they become highly invested in and focused upon the significant other or others. They neglect the unfolding of their own unique lives, and they direct themselves towards their significant other or others, according to Shackley, 1994. In order to overcome these obstacles of codependency, one must engage in interdisciplinary task. The most effective treatment that's been suggested rests in the very global approach of in-depth counseling. Support groups can help, and also spiritual guidance can also help you as well for treatment. Currently, there are numerous types of support groups that are out there. There are books and tapes that have been put together, and literature and pamphlets, and also 12-step programs that recovery programs, ranging or varying from highly professional to self-help approaches that are sponsored by many Christian organizations out there, churches, for example, and agencies. These very resources and or services are available to all those people who are struggling with similar conditions and seem to be unable to break free from codependency cycle alone. Okay? So the Bible repeatedly calls us to be, for example, anchored, solid, and also be balanced people or individuals. The scriptures also encourages all of us to cultivate maturity. So it's both on the individual side of the spectrum and also interpersonal levels as well. And to also develop a strong sense of personhood in Christ Jesus. The following, are some foundational marks of a healthy self. So if you are healthy and you overcome it, this is what you should have. If you have overcome codependency. So this goes as following. First one on the list is having the capacity to be alone and to be content with what you have in all situations, or what you have, or what in all situations. To establishing a good balance between independence and dependence. A functional, basically, interdependence is what you want. All right. Now the third one is possessing a well-defined personal boundary, and having a clear sense of self. All right. Now the next one is stopping the very habit of peacekeeping, accommodating, pleasing, and avoiding, and learning the virtue of peacemaking that's addressed in facing challenges or obstacles. That's found in Matthew 5, verse 9. Also, maintain a healthy balance between giving and also receiving, caring, and also letting go. Having the ability is the next thing to mean what one says, and also to say what one really means. Like Christ's very teaching clearly basically conveyed this very point or principle. Let your very yeas or yeses be yes, and your no's be no's. That's in Matthew 5, verse 37. And also you want to develop a constructive style for conflict resolution and stress management. Okay. Another thing to have when you are a whole self is becoming aware of self and also others, being in touch with deep emotional needs, and also being observant of personal patterns and surroundings, and look out for cues, embracing one's full humanity and potential, including the shadow potential for failure, and also set of weaknesses and probably strengths. So these are all things you should have. Okay? So, if you can do that, your vulnerabilities, so it wasn't stress, but weakness, strengths, or vulnerabilities. Seeking close relationships with other healthy, positive, and also mature people or individuals. Radically evaluating personal equalities and efficiencies and avoiding the common tendency of underestimating or overestimating oneself. Don't doubt yourself. Don't put yourself down, okay? All right, next one is learning how to be proactive instead of being passive, responsive, or merely reactive. Means taking the initiative, setting some goals for yourself, pursuing interest, and fulfilling potentials, and positively acting upon life, whatever life throws at you. Pretty much have a positive outlook on it. Don't focus on the past, or try to stay in the past. And don't try to lie about things or make excuses, because codependents tend to make tons of excuses for things because they don't want to take the responsibility on themselves. Like they'll say, I don't make mistakes. I don't ever tell a lie. I've never told a lie. I don't do anything wrong. It's the kind of attitude they always seem to have. So if you're like that, you're definitely you are an active codependent, which is worse than inactive, because you're the opposite. But more people are active independents than inactive. So if you're like that, these are things you want to change and stop or correct, because these are destructive and very disturbing, or can be very destructive patterns that you have that can destroy a lot of relationships, and also, it causes you to stop or break relationships in your lifestyle. So try to maintain relationships with people no matter at what cost. If they get challenging, try to talk it out. Don't run away from it and go to another relationship only to run away from that one when things get too hot or too bad for you, or when you feel empty or incomplete. Talk about it before you reach that point. Find out what you can do so you can keep the relationship. You have to work at a relationship. If you stop working at it, that's why you lose the relationship. And you don't want to make the statement, well, why do I always lose friends? Why don't they call me anymore? Why don't they email me anymore? I used to email them, they used to talk to me all the time, but now they don't talk to me anymore. Well, maybe it's something you did or something you said, and that's what caused that, because that's what codependents do. And then they sit there and act all innocent, or they'll say like they're delusional, or nothing happened when it did happen. They'll lie about it. Like when a friend of mine was confronted by two men at Walmart 2 different times, and she thought that they were trying to flirt with her or do something to her, and they weren't doing anything. They were just trying to help her with the groceries. She ended up lying and saying that nothing happened, to a friend of mine, and she lied to her and told her that nothing happened when it did happen. She lied about it. And a lot of codependents like to lie about things a lot because they don't want to talk about things that they did in the past, so they cover it up by lying. And that's pretty much what they do. They always cover it up or make excuses or try to explain it away somehow. So that's really what codependency is. I hope this helps somebody. I hope it saves marriages. I hope it saves lives. I hope it saves your family. And I hope it helps you get back with your children and have a stronger relationship, and get back with friends that you took out of your life by excommunicating them on false circumstances, and bring them back into your life, because they don't need to be excommunicated, because they didn't deserve to be excommunicated, because they didn't do nothing to be excommunicated. Look at yourself, because if you're always ending a relationship and always canceling them out, it's probably you that's got the problem. It's not the people, because you're always breaking the relationship. It's not the other person that's always breaking it. It's because it's something you do or said. That's why they break it. But most of the time it's you that does it, because there's something wrong that's going on with what you're doing. So think about that, guys. I hope this helps some people out there. I love you. Take care. It's Michael DeSilva from New Owner Church of Christ. A counsel in a minute on codependency. This came from the Baker's Encyclopedia of Psychology and Counseling. Take care. God bless. Hope this helps somebody out there. I love you.